Good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you for joining me here with Conversations with Taz. Whew. Tonight, tonight we Lord. Let's jump right on into it. So we know the big topic of the week, of the day, and this comes from Newsbreak, and then we got some videos to accompany it. Elon Musk to buy Twitter for $44 billion. Elon Musk clinched a deal to buy Twitter Inc., TWTR.N, for $44 billion on Monday in a transaction that will shift control of the social media platform populated by millions of users and global leaders to the world's richest person. Discussions over the deal, which last week appeared uncertain, accelerated over the weekend after Musk wooed Twitter shareholders with financing details of his offer. Under pressure, Twitter started negotiating with Musk to buy the company at a proposed $52.20 per share price. The deal ends Twitter's run as a public company since its 2013 initial public offering. Free speech is the bedrock of a functioning democracy, and Twitter is the digital town square where matters vital to the future of humanity are debated, Musk said in a statement. Twitter shares were up 6% following the news. Before I give my opinion, just take a look at the following videos. There will be a few in a row. See in 2 and 2.
We'll look forward to what those updated content guidelines look like. What do you think?
You really want to know what I think? Let me tell you exactly what I think. Elon Musk told the United Nations that he would give them $6 billion if they could prove that would solve world hunger, to which the UN gave him a detailed plan of how they could do it, and he didn't give them the $6 billion he promised. He was just full of shit. Solve world hunger? Buy Twitter. You could have done both, but you chose not to do one. And that's what your character says about you, my friend. And it won't be until we eat the rich that shit like this stops. But it's cool. Bro had to get his new hobby play toy or whatever it is that he needed, because apparently space travel just isn't cutting it these days, and neither is Grimes.
Let's talk Elon Musk and Twitter. The First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution limits government, not private entities, from restricting free expression. This is why companies like Facebook and Twitter can moderate content, which is also why they were able to suspend former President Trump's accounts. All right, back to Elon Musk. So today he struck a deal with Twitter to buy it for $44 billion. So why should this matter to you? Well, although Twitter isn't the biggest social media platform, it is huge. Ashley. Twitter, whether you like it or not, has shaped narratives around the world and has employed a lot of people for image making and brand building. However, with Elon Musk over Twitter, he said his goal is to provide as much legal speech as possible. Does that mean Trump's coming back? Probably, Fran. Probably. Hold on. Didn't Musk have black workers speak up about discrimination at Tesla? So basically, Musk could change everything from Twitter platform policies to workplace culture.
Since Elon Musk has officially bought Twitter, I suggest a challenge. Between May 1st and May 10th, everyone deactivate their Twitter accounts for that whole entire 10 days. Personally, I have already deactivated my account, but I would encourage everyone just for that period of time, even starting now until the 10th, then pay attention to the stock value of Twitter. If a large majority of us are no longer using Twitter, check the value of the company. Make his pockets hurt. Because this CEO purchasing a social media platform, our response to it, or the impact of this decision, will set a precedent for other CEOs and billionaires considering buying companies. If we're interested in democracy and not oligarchy, just think about that. Think about that.
I had a great idea. Since Elon Musk bought Twitter for an obscene amount of money, why don't we all make Twitter accounts and tweet Elon Musk to end world hunger over and over and over again? See if he keeps that energy about free speech and all.
Musk is a trash person, born of a trash person. If you don't know the story of his father, look it up. Look it up. I already exposed it once on Instagram. I am not repeating that disgustingness again in life. But in one of the videos, it was brought up how racist and bigoted the work environment is at Tesla. Elon Musk has already publicly proven he cannot take criticism. He has sued people. He has moved to get virtually anything negative about him scrubbed from the internet. What do you think is going to happen to Twitter now? My prediction is it will become heavy on Tesla propaganda and marketing. Trump will be back. It will become extremely right-wing, extremely racist. Those that are on TikTok that already know that Black and creators of color are already being shadow banned, already being stifled, racist and pedophiles are flourishing. It's going to get worse on Twitter. I think the best idea is one between now and April 30th at midnight, wherever your midnight may be, tweet Elon Musk and ask him about his pledge to the United Nations. They held up their end of the bargain. When is he going to uphold his? Because 6 billion and 44 billion, two different amounts. It would have been cheaper for him to end world hunger. Because he's trying to cover up a lot of wrongdoings with this whole Twitter shenanigans, and he needs to jump in front of quite a few narratives. Because people already discredit anything that comes off of Facebook. Most people can't really touch Instagram because that content is being pulled from other social media platforms where people already have an idea of what those social media platforms are about. Twitter was the one place where nobody really had an opinion about the information. People just discerned each bit of information as they saw it. But I would say starting May 1st, deactivate your accounts. Hit those pockets. Make the shares drop. Because the board let us down at this point. Completely let us down at this point. And we have to stop. We have to stop. Elon Musk is a guy pretending to be a tech guy, pretending to have invented technology that he did not. He is good and is well known for stealing companies from people and then rewriting the narrative so much, excuse me, that you forget the company's history. Because people really do give him credit for Tesla. That was not originally his company. That is not his technology. He did the same thing he did essentially to Twitter. So how long before he says that he created Twitter? How long before it's okay for people to call Black people monkeys and far worse on there? Child. I cannot believe. After they came up with the whole poison pill strategy, Twitter's board still decided, you know what? We put all these precautions to make sure this crazy person couldn't take control, but we're gonna do that. The original owners, I think you can still Google it, but it did not start off as Elon Musk. Elon Musk does not have the background to be the head of Tesla. Why do you think? If you can, or if you know somebody who owns a Tesla, take an up close personal look at the bodywork of a Tesla. Look at the fact that, they're supposed to be driverless cars, but they wreck. I know someone who lost a sister because her Tesla caught on fire and basically melted her into the framework of the car when coming home from work. And she was a nurse. She was a frontline worker. She was an essential worker. This is why This is why. And for you pandering motherfuckers, you alabaster animaniacs, you yeast yeti yardigans, you coon-tastic committee members that keep going, how fantastic is it that an African American is going to own a social? No, bitch, he's not African American. He is an African living in America. Yes, he was born on the continent of Africa, but we know that the term African American was coined by the United States government for census records to denote a black person, a phenotypically black person. We are not about to play semantics with this bullshit. Y'all are not about to try. No. Black people are doing a lot of amazing things, and we always have and we always will. But that's not the game we're about to play. Not this year in 2022. No, ma'am, no, sir. No, ma'am, no, sir. And speaking of shenanigans in 2022, trigger warning. This is heavy on blatant racism. And I will reserve my comments to the end because I want you all to see it. Back in two.
Okay, y'all. So I live in Georgia, and this is the Georgia Peach Oyster Bar. It is 4 miles down the street from my house. When I found out about it and Cassie told me, I thought she was lying. Clearly she wasn't, because here it is. This is what it looks like on the inside. People are going to wonder why we came here, but we wanted the truth. We wanted answers. This is the menu. So this has kind of been a urban myth where we live, but it's not a myth. This is really going on. This is a real restaurant. They have customers, they have patrons. This is the owner, Lanzo. This place is real, y'all.
Now, I just want to know, how is us remembering what happened to our ancestors at the hands of your ancestors, keeping hate alive when you literally have restaurants out here like this in 2022?
I want to make sure I articulate my sentiments properly because I know what I look like and I know who and what I represent. And I want people to hear me and not say that I'm emotional because I'm a woman or that I'm an angry Black woman. I want you to hear what I have to say. In case you missed it, the front of that menu was a KKK member in full regalia laying in a hammock made of the skin of Black people, which is something they used to do. They used to make clothing out of us and furniture and eat us and everything else. You can rewind it, Dub. You can rewind it even though it's live. You can rewind it and then catch back up. Right now I'm only going to speak from the perspective of Black people because I am Black. I am not going to try to speak on behalf of anyone else from the BIPOC community. That is not my lane. I stay fervently in my lane. That's why I really don't get into pileups. But we are constantly told to get over the past while we watch white counterparts relish in the past and parade the past in front of our face in the most horrific parts of the past. Not parts of the past where sections of us unified for change. Not parts of the past where it was an equal struggle. Although in the United States, there really was never an equal struggle, but I digress and you get what I mean. But it's okay for them to do this, and they will hide behind it's heritage, not hate. How is wearing the skin of another person heritage and not hate? Because I'm old enough to remember when the movie Silence of the Lamb came out. I remember how many people were emotionally touched and how many people were disturbed by the whole Buffalo Bill scene, where he wanted to make a suit out of a woman's skin. I know the cases that snippet was taken from because there were people in real life trying to do it and how up in arms people were about that. But they were only up in arms because it was white women they were trying to make these skin suits out of. I remember, and I'm old enough to know how disgusted people were, to find out that Jeffrey Dahmer was killing men and consuming them, full on cannibalism. And there were people of every racial makeup, every ethnic background that were so disgusted and so pissed off, and rightfully so, but still want to deny that the cookbook, the delectable Negro, exists. That presidents had the teeth of slaves in their mouth. That presidents and politicians called the young children that they were molesting and having children with their mistresses. Nobody is outraged that Black people and their hair were turned into cushions and furniture and accessories and clothing and hammocks. That little Black babies were fed to alligators. That little Black babies and children and mothers and fathers were forced to breed with each other. That little Black babies and children and mothers and fathers and aunts and uncles and cousins were put in damn zoos. But this restaurant is okay. Racist chalk crusaders will sit here and act as if Black owned or historically Black means exclusive to Black people. We have never been exclusive, even to our detriment historically. But a full-fledged restaurant whose sign outside refers to Black people as the N-word with the hard ER and has all sorts of propaganda pieces from the heyday of the Triple K is okay. And I commend this young lady for going, you know what, this has been an urban legend for so long. Let me see if it really exists. Because a lot of y'all take these things that really have existed and sustained themselves as an urban legend. Like people who want to argue with us melanated folks about sundown towns and sundown counties and sundown states still existing. We know where we are welcome and where we are not. We know how quickly to get out of Dodge, and y'all say, oh no, it's not that bad. Because I remember a year ago on TikTok, a white woman, and this is why we say white mothers of biracial children and Black mothers or Asian mothers, etc., they built different. A white mother of a biracial child took her biracial child to a sundown town near sunset. Why? It's one thing for your car to break down. It's one thing to be on the road and you're like, snap, I thought we would get through this town quicker. Let's just, I know I'm tired. I know we all tired. Let's get to the next town. Let's get to this, whatever. But to purposely do that shit, you are a special type of evil. But if you truly believe that it is okay for this oyster bar to exist, making it absolutely positively known that Black people are not welcome there. And what else do we see there? Once again, the Confederate battle flag. So tell me the fuck again how that is heritage. That is pure D hate. That flag disappeared for decades, and I'm going to say it again like I said it before. The Confederate generals themselves said to put the flag away and to not erect any type of monuments in their honor because they knew what they were doing was treasonous, and they were simply happy that they did not have to pay the price for treason. A lot of them went on to rejoin the politics of the United States, of the Union. You erected statues and you fly that flag to show where people who look like me in every variation are not welcome. You want to hold on to those statues because the only culture you have is hate and fear. And before you go, I don't fear you, you're inferior to me. Stop. First and foremost, white folks, you are a genetic mutation. You shouldn't even exist. Number one. Number two. Yes, you are intimidated and you are in fear because you had an incredible head start. You took everything from us. You stripped everything from us. But even from the beginning, you couldn't learn our languages. You had to teach us your language and have us translate for you. You couldn't figure out how we were educating ourselves and how we were able to make the innovations that you couldn't figure out. You couldn't figure out our agricultural prowess, so you just put us in charge of the fields. That is why we only became lazy when our labor no longer was free. Don't believe me? Google, Firefox, Bing, Yahoo, AOL, all free, baby. But if you want my class, join me on Wednesday night or join me on Saturday afternoon. Cash App, Venmo, all of that right in my bio. Argue with your mama, argue with whatever God you pray with, but don't argue with me, because facts are facts are facts. And to go on to, before we go on to this next video, let's run this month's ad. Once again, discounts are always good for the entire website. This discount will be good through midnight on Saturday, because that's the last day of the month, and there will be a new ad and a new string of designs for you. If there's something you want to see, let me know, but I'll see you in 2 and 2.
You think that Speaker Pelosi is a traitor to the country, right?
What you're seeing here is Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene getting impeached.
But not the way you think.
I'm not answering that question. It's speculation. It's
You've said that, haven't you, Ms. Greene, that she's a traitor to the country?
No, I haven't said that.
Okay. Put up Plaintiff's Exhibit 5, please.
Oh, no, wait. Hold on now.
In fancy lawyer terms, impeaching someone on the stand means discrediting them. Basically, it suggests that the person is a liar and whatever they said before that shouldn't be trusted.
Without getting into the politics, we will say that this lawyer performed the impeachment quite masterfully. He begins with an inflammatory question purposefully to get Greene defensive.
With her flustered, he asks a question that she wants to deny but that he already knows is true.
He already knows that she's referred to Nancy Pelosi as a traitor because he has a video of her doing it.
When she says no,
Bam.
He introduces video evidence making her scramble and look like a liar.
Now we know it does not take much to catch up any right-wing conservative, especially a Trump-la-fuck. Because when you start referring to yourself as a Trump Republican, there's an incredible amount of cognitive dissonance and willful ignorance that goes into that. But this wasn't the first time she was caught in a lie, and she continued to set her own self up. She wasn't expecting, I guess she thought that she was going in front of a federal judge, which, in case you don't know, cameras aren't allowed in those courtrooms, not in a federal courtroom. But it wasn't a federal courtroom. So we all got to see in 4K her scramble and lie. And the smug look on her face, with all the other evidence that has been presented to you, if you still don't believe that white privilege exists, I got some swampland down in Florida that I would love to sell to you. I'll give you a good deal. I'll give you the Elon Musk deal. But just wait until the January 6th committee public hearings begin. I predict mythological levels of deceitful gymnastics going forth, because people forget that their tweets, their videos that they put out, press conferences, like, we live in a time and age where you can't hide from anything. You can think that you're saying something so privately, baby, it will still see the light of day. We live in a time where people want to have a gotcha moment on other people. And if you actually do something wrong, they don't even have to skew the context. You get to see the whole text thread. You get to see the whole video of what they said. You get to see the whole press conference. Because I will admit, do people on social media try to skew narratives? Yes, that's why you only see part of a text message, because they don't want to give you the context behind it, because then you're like, oh, that wasn't bad at all. But with these January 6th fucktwats, one, we already know the context. So roll that beautiful footage so we can see all of their text messages, start to finish, for the whole conversation. Because they're all going to be drug in and questioned. So you can't say, oh, this is privilege. We can't say this because this person can't defend themselves. Oh, they're the next up on the witness list, Your Honor. So we can either read it now or we can read it in 5 minutes. The full videos that they already put out themselves. There's no reason to splice and dice it. There's no reason to hide part of it to take away context. They said it with their whole chest through their whole videos that they are anti-American while calling themselves patriots. And I have been fervently watching several comment sections that have been talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene. And for those of you all that think that the vast majority of the people, or all of the people in the district that she represents, if you think that she's properly representing them and they share her views, you are mistaken. They don't want her representing her. They never did. She got in uncontested. That's why she moved. Let's not forget, she moved in order to get her spot. She knows nothing about the ideologies or the needs or wants of the people she represents. She keeps saying, I was voted in. You were defaulted in. Because we all know how it happens. If I put my name on the ballot for a position that really nobody wants, the likelihood of somebody else running, or I find out, okay, two people were running, one person passed away, nobody else decided to run because they couldn't get campaign funds up in enough time. Then this person had to drop out because of personal reasons. And I'm like, well, I got the money. And I know if I back this politician, the money will roll in because, you know, they love making sure we're all together. Of course, I'm going to slide in. There's no opponent. Even if I only go in and vote for myself, that's one vote. Even if everybody else skips my name on the ballot, I got to vote. I'm going in. But let's roll to this next one.
No, you know what is impossible? Trying to find math books that don't indoctrinate kids. Indoctrinate kids into what? Learning. I rejected like half the new math textbooks this year because they were teaching things like Common Core and CRT. The math textbook was teaching CRT. According to my own personal definition of it, yeah. You gonna finish that? I was gonna let it spoil, actually. Why do you even have all of that? I'm just stopping every truck that comes in from Mexico to inspect them again. It'll only have a negative effect on, everybody. Why? Mostly because I don't like you very much. At least it can't get worse. John Hinckley Jr. is performing a sold-out show. Why do I know that name? Ask Reagan. The man that shot Reagan is playing a show. In just about the most New York move. He got cleared from a psych institution, and now he plays music. I need a nap.
Don't you love how people in office that are a part of the grand old party, the conservative Republicans, the former Dixiecrats, love riling up their voter base to do things that are going to further hinder their voter base. And then they will convince these individuals that it's the Democrats' issue. The Democrats did it to you. Biden did it to you. How? How? Because I've seen so many people literally lying in comment sections going, I live in a red state. We don't have any food. First of all, that would be a local government issue if you're not getting supplies to your state. Number one. Number two, so you're admitting that Democratic run states care about their residents. They don't look at these people as simply voters. They look at them as human beings and feed them. That's not the flex. That's not the gotcha y'all think it is. And then the whole CRT and math books. It is amazing me, more and more as the years go by, how many people did not pay attention while they were in school to understand cross-education, cross-platform education, where you would get to a certain point in your math book that coincided with a certain place in English, that coincided with a certain place in your history class, because they wanted to make sure you saw the connection of all of these subjects into one for life, and it would reiterate the lessons in you. But since most people have not researched what critical race theory is, they think bringing up anything that's black or brown, oh, but we don't want little Johnny and Patricia to feel bad. What about the black and brown children that have to sit there and hear about the people who committed the greatest atrocities against their ancestors being glorified? How does that make them feel? How do you think we felt where the only time you discussed our history was to make it seem as if it began and ended with chattel slavery? And then you take all of our history, when you want to put it into a book written by a white person or put it into a movie, and you give us a white savior as if that's how it really fucking happened. I swear for God. You didn't do nothing, D-Mac. We talking about the Alabaster Animaniacs. But United States, y'all want to puff up your chest. We're the greatest nation in the world. No, you're the youngest nation in the world. That's the title that you get. You're still a damn teenager. And just like a teenager, you're running around here acting like you have the solutions to everything when you have the solution to nothing. You messing up everything from top to bottom. From top to bottom. You are a dumpster fire. You are a clusterfuck. You don't want to take accountability for anything that you want to do, and you want to keep pointing your fingers at your big brothers and sisters, your aunties, your uncles, and your parents. Because ain't nothing your fault. Half of you still ain't graduated high school, you so damn young compared to the rest of the nations of the world. Oh, it's definitely the Lincoln effect, because they keep trying to make Lincoln a Republican, and they keep forgetting that he was a Democratic Republican. He started his own political party to run on and to govern on, and then they pew-pewed him. I swear. Now, the last video for the night, it can't be a spoiler alert, because even if you're watching the Hulu original Girl from Plainville, you already know how it began and ended. Well, you know how it ended. You may not know how it began. But this video was brought to my attention, and I didn't know this bit of information, and I did not catch why this young lady was pushing for things to occur on a certain night the way that she did. So we're going to play this video, and yeah, here we go.
Okay, we're gonna throw it back and do some True Crime Thursday, because this video blew up and it's a case that I don't need to research because I know it. True Crime Thursday, Conrad Roy and Michelle Carter. So in July 2014, Conrad Roy, 18-year-old, went missing. He was missing for I think a couple days. He was eventually found in his truck. He had died by suicide. Now the police, while they were investigating it, found a lot of texts from his girlfriend, Michelle, that appeared to show her encouraging him to follow through with it. Now, the thing to consider here as well is that this was not Conrad's first attempt. He had a long history of mental health issues, and Michelle also had mental health issues, and she was only 17 at the time. Anyways, through the investigation, they find that these texts have been going on for a while, that he brought up death, she had been trying to talk him out of it, and then decided to talk him into it and tell him to do it. And then during the time that he was missing, she was talking to him the whole time on text, but she was telling people that she was freaked out because he was missing. And then after he died, she told somebody that she told him to get back in the truck. Now that happened supposedly on the phone, so there's actually no proof that that was said. But why else would you say it? I don't know. So given all that information, she was charged with involuntary manslaughter and convicted. She spent about a year in prison. She is out now. Now, the glee of it all, okay? Michelle was obsessed with Glee, especially Finn and Rachel, Corey and Leah. If you know, you know. If you don't know, Google it, because it's fucking complicated and I don't got time to explain it. Now, the whole thing with the case was that it was believed her motive was to get attention, to get people to pity her and pay attention to her. Now, when Corey died, Leah got a lot of attention, and they did a whole episode, the quarterback, and she sang, and that's the thing that she did in the show, and oh my God, it was like emotionally horrible watching that episode, and Corey died in real life. And now Conrad died on the same motherfucking day. It really gives you a new perspective on why she was so insistent on it happening that day. She said, like, you gotta do this before midnight. Ugh. But anyways, that's the case. It's really fucked up. I have a lot of feelings about it. I was conflicted, and now I feel weird. Anyways, there's good shows. The Girl from Plainville, HBO has a documentary, I Love You Now Die, and then 2020 just released an episode about it as well, if you want more information. Ugh.
Now, a couple weeks back on my Wednesday show, Get Into It with Taz and Chris, we had discussed it. And even last week, I had said something to Chris that the episodes were starting to really creep me out because this girl seems to be using her boyfriend's death for attention and sympathy, and she had some weird attachment issues, and she was showing herself to be very manipulative. Like she wanted people to do things in order to increase the amount of attention and sympathy that she was getting. It was giving me very much the vibes of Munchausen by proxy syndrome. If you're not familiar with it, please Google it. I'm not going to go into it here. And the only reason it was is because I had an opportunity to witness Munchausen by proxy syndrome in front of my face in real time. And it's just witnessing it. I was not even at the hands of it affects me to this day. And the fact that some people get so obsessed with TV shows and movies, and yeah, you're right, DMAC, white womening. But for people to get so obsessed with TV shows where it's like, oh, I don't want you to die only because I'm trying to keep you alive long enough for me to live out my fantasy at the cost of your life. And this is especially triggering to me for another reason, but I'm not at a place where I'm going to speak on that just yet, because I'm going to be honest with y'all, I'm still raw in my emotion. So no, I will not be sharing that. And quite honestly, the last time I opened up and shared something super, super personal, it went super, super left for me. So please respect this boundary that I'm keeping this one close to the chest. You don't have to understand it, but you do have to respect it and honor this boundary. So do not DM me or ask me afterwards, because I will not tell you. I will just eliminate you from any access to me. And Deanne, you're right. People they've been doing this a lot. Not just it's being talked about more lately, but it's been a long-standing thing. And I commend the DA, the prosecutor in this case, and I rarely do this, because y'all know how I feel. Y'all know the classes that I've taken. Y'all know the legislation that I'm working on. And hopefully I will have an update on that sometime soon. But shouts out to the prosecutor for looking at the evidence as a whole, not just limiting this to a suicide, and realizing there are determining factors behind a suicide. Yes, there are people who wake up one day and just decide, you know what, I no longer want to be here, I'm out. But there are cases of, did someone technically take their life? Yes, but were they driven to that point? Definitely. So, with that being said, that is our show for this evening. The subject matter for tomorrow will not be as emotionally driven as tonight. I can promise you that. As always, each one teach one, each one reach one. And y'all have a blessed day. Till tomorrow.